Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I've got the final video from my September 2025 Pennsylvania road trip. Out of all the malls I visited during this trip, I would say that this mall is almost certainly the most successful of them all. This is the Viewmont Mall in Dickson City, Pennsylvania. Now come along with me and let's take a look around. So this mall opened in 1968. It was developed by Crown Construction and cost about $10 million to build, which would be roughly $93 million in today's money. Crown Construction, which changed its name to Crown American in the early 70s, was also the original owner of the mall. Crown American sold the mall to Priet in 2003, and Priet remains the mall's owner to this day. And from what I can see, it appears that they do care about this mall's future, as the property seems very well maintained. There were very few vacancies, and there were a decent number of customers for a Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. But if you disagree with that, please let me know in the comments. The original anchor stores were Sears, which was the first anchor to open, this JCPenney, and Grant's. As is the case in a lot of the malls I visited, JCPenney is the only remaining original anchor store. When doing my research on this mall, I actually was not able to find a ton of information about its history, other than the anchor stores really. But what I did read was that in 2007 the mall underwent a fairly major renovation, and as far as I can tell, the way the mall looks today is essentially the way it looked back in 2007 after that renovation. I didn't find anything though about any previous renovations, but because the mall opened in 1968 and it was almost 40 years between when the mall opened and 2007, I've got to imagine they did some sort of update before that, but I could be wrong. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs and, of course, flea markets. Thanks. Coming up at the end of the hallway where the Dick's is today is where the original anchor store Sears was located. The Sears closed in 2016 and the building was demolished later that same year. In 2017, the site was rebuilt and originally had a regular Dick's Sporting Goods, a Field & Stream store, and a Home Goods. The Field & Stream was actually a subsidiary of Dick's at one point, so you could actually enter the Field & Stream store from within this Dick's. The original Dick's and Field & Stream closed in 2023. It then reopened later that year as Dick's House of Sport, which is essentially a Dick's superstore. It's kind of like a combination of the original Dick's Sporting Goods plus the Field & Stream and some other stuff. I've been hearing about Dick's House of Sport at a lot of other malls I've been to where they're having these stores opening up, but we don't have any in Connecticut where I'm from, so I figured I should do a walkthrough because I've never been in one, and you know, the way they described it online sounded pretty impressive. I was kind of thinking it would be like a mixture of Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops with a Dick's Sporting Goods, but it wasn't quite that flashy. Like Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's is almost like an amusement park. This isn't quite like that, but it's still very impressive. One thing that definitely differentiates this Dick's House of Sport from a normal Dick's Sporting Goods is this enormous climbing wall. I'm fairly certain they don't have these in regular Dick's Sporting Goods. I would be curious to know how many people actually use it though, because as you can see, when I came there was nobody on it. At least I didn't see them. I'm really not sure how well Dick's House of Sport is doing, or you know, this particular one is doing, because as you can see there's barely anybody here. But again, this was a Tuesday at about 1:30 p.m., so I would imagine that's a fairly quiet time, but still, you know, it was pretty quiet in here. On the left, I thought this was kind of neat. They're calling it the House of Cleats. So it's all shoes with cleats. That's a lot of cleats. I don't think I've seen another store or shoe store that had that many different shoes that had cleats on them. And then on the left, we have a batting cage. That's also something that I would imagine is probably not in most regular Dick's Sporting Goods. How tall do you think that climbing wall is? I'm going to guess 40 feet. I have no idea how to find out the correct answer, but that's my guess. I think that has to be the pinkest pink I've ever seen. It almost hurts to look at. Alright, now back to the mall. I have to say, I do like that they still have trees in here. Not sure if those trees are real or not, but I like them either way. This vacant store on the left used to be FYE, and I believe that closed fairly recently. The Old Navy here on the right has been open at least 30 years or more, because I did find them on an old mall map from the mid-90s. I'm not sure what was there before that, though, but it's a fairly large space, so I would imagine there was a junior anchor in there before Old Navy, but I'm not sure what it was. And then on the right, of course, is the JCPenney we saw earlier, which was the second anchor store to open. And according to this photo here, there used to be a water fountain right out in front of the JCPenney. Not sure when they removed that water fountain. It might have been during the 2007 renovation, but I kind of get a feeling it was removed a little bit before that, but again, I'm really not sure. Now, as always, if you've been to this mall before, or especially if this is your hometown mall, let me know what you think about it in the comments. And also, if possible, if you can let me know what stores used to be in here in the past. Again, I wasn't really able to find much about that online, other than the anchors again. But, you know, in the almost 60 years this mall has been here, I'm sure there have been quite a wide array of stores here. I thought this stretch of the hallway was oddly dark. Even though you can see all the lights are turned on, it's still pretty dark. I don't know what they could do to fix that other than put in another skylight here, or maybe add some almost like street lights, like lights on a post. And the Bath & Body Works is still open, so that's definitely a good sign. Because you know when the Bath & Body Works closes, it's over. Here's the food court, which was renovated in 2014. I'm not sure if the rest of the mall was renovated in 2014, but the food court was. And that's when the Buffalo Wild Wings opened. Other than the Buffalo Wild Wings opening, though, I'm really not sure what renovations or updates they did to this food court in 2014. So the food court is not huge, but they have a decent selection of restaurants here, and I especially like that they have a sit-down restaurant like the Buffalo Wild Wings, because I would much rather eat in a restaurant like that than go to one of these stalls. But that's just me. And they've got a bank in the mall, which is slightly unusual. I don't see that too often. On the right is Lollipop Toy Shop, and I don't think I've seen one of those before. I could just be misremembering, but it doesn't look familiar. And then we've got Gertrude Hawk Chocolates, which for some reason I have a really hard time saying. And it's one of those places I've seen a lot. I've never been in one. So if anybody knows how that chocolate is, let me know if it's worth trying. Another thing I really do like about this mall are these skylights, especially the circular ones here. I'm not sure, but I would guess those probably got added during the 2007 renovation. Coming up at the end of this hallway is where the original anchor store Grant's was located. The Grant's closed in 1976 and was replaced by Hess's later that same year. Between 1987 and 1988, the Hess's underwent a $10 million renovation and rebuild, which included adding a second floor. The Hess's closed in 1994 and was replaced by Kaufmann's in 1995, and then the Kaufmann's became Macy's in 2006. On the right, as you can clearly see, this used to be Forever 21, and it actually just closed earlier this year in 2025. Now that's something that is not the mall's fault. All the Forever 21s went out of business, so can't put that on the mall. Now don't go anywhere yet. Next we're going to do a drive around the mall and see what it looks like from the outside. Alright, so first up we have the Macy's, which like I mentioned was originally Grant's, then Hess's, then Kaufman's, and then finally Macy's as of 2006. And here's the now abandoned Forever 21. Wonder when they're going to take down the signs. Or if they're going to keep them up forever like Lord & Taylor does. This is where Sears was located up until 2016. Like I mentioned, it became Dick's in 2017. And it used to say Dick's Sporting Goods. Now it obviously says Dick's House of Sport. But it looked otherwise pretty much the same when it was just a regular Dick's. The Field and Stream entrance, though, was here. And I don't know about you, but I really liked the look of the Field and Stream entrance. It had a lot of character. And then here's the Home Goods, which also opened in 2017. And here's the JCPenney, which again is the only remaining original anchor store. And the JCPenney has been updated quite a bit over the years. Here's a picture of what it looked like back around the time it opened. And as you can see, it looked completely different. Kind of wish it still looked like it did back in the 60s, but I can see why they updated it. And then here's the Buffalo Wild Wings, which opened in 2014. And then this, as the sign says, is the food court entrance. And we're back to the Macy's. And then coming up, as we go around the corner here, you'll see a Books A Million as a separate out parcel. And that actually used to be the movie theater. And there you have it. That is Viewmont Mall in Dickson City, Pennsylvania. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up. And also, if you like, feel free to check out my second YouTube channel, Flea-Bitten Side Quests, and my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/c/Flea-Bitten Adventures. And on there, for a monthly fee, you do get access to exclusive videos. I've currently got 10 exclusive videos on my Patreon, and I do 1 to 2 new videos a month. If I get a lot more subscribers, though, of course, I will do more videos than that. But once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.